Hey everybody, if you're sitting there thinking, I can't do this, who am I going to call? Well, you called the right person, because I ain't afraid of no ghost. In the part 1 of this video, we created a geodatabase. If you didn't see that, if you're not sure how to make a geodatabase, go back, watch 4-1 part 1. If you're already done with that, then we're going to move on to part 2, which is actually creating the map. The first step of which involves adding the data that we just put into the geodatabase. So all we have to do is go to add data, and we're going to go and find our geodatabase that we created. So if we go to GIS T1, My Assignments, Chapter 4, and this is the one that I just created. You can double click on that. Now you can just hit, if you hold down Shift and go to the bottom, it'll highlight everything in there. And then you can hit Add. So now there you go. And so this is where, if you remember, this is our catalog. This is it right here. This is what we created. So I'm going to take the push pin away and hide this window again so we can see the map better. Go back, click on full extent. There we go. The first thing you may notice is that we're on this list by source view of the table of contents instead of this list by drawing order. This is the view that we normally have. This is the view that we need when we make most of the changes. Before we begin, though, I'm going to stay in this view because I want to look at the attribute tables of both of these. What we need to do in the assignment is the municipalities here that we can see, all these boxes and squiggly boxes, don't have a whole lot in them right now. Well, they have a whole lot in them, but they don't have what we need in them. So if we right-click and go to Open Attribute Table, we can see. So these are the names of the townships, and we have population, but we don't have any information on taxes. And the whole purpose of this assignment is we want to compare the tax burden between different municipalities. So we need to add in the tax burden to this data right here, to these data. The data that we need to add are here in this revenue table. So if we right-click and hit Open, we see, here we go, income tax, this is real estate tax, this is total tax revenues, total tax revenues. Well, I'm not sure what that one, how total is different from tax. The book says tax is total tax revenues. So let's not worry about total right now. Either way, these are the data that we need to add to this layer. So what are we going to do? Well, let's go back to here. And what we're going to do is we're going to join them. So do you remember from the tutorial how you do a join? If you said right click, ding, 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 you are correct. Right click here, go to joins and relates, and go to join. And so now we're going to join data from another layer. Join attributes from a table is what we want. So the field in this layer the join will be based on. Okay, here's a good lesson. This is what we should have looked at when we were going to the attribute tables. Let's go back in here. We need to find a field that's going to be the same in both that we can join on. So object ID right here goes 1 through 134. 1 is Marshall Township, 2 is Pine Township. So let's go back to this view and look at revenue. Open up this one, and here we go. Object ID 1 through 128, but is not the same things. Aleppo Township is 1, Aspinwall Borough is 2. So that one's not going to work. What about ID? We got 020034. Let's see this one here. We don't have an ID. Or do we? 00234, is this what this one is? Nope. So I don't see that either. We can try joining on name, but usually it's better to join on text. The other thing we might want to try, okay. So you can see Aleppo's 34 in this one and Aspinwall's 60. I'm going to have them both be on the same order so we can compare. Alright, Alright, so name, short name. You have short name in the other one. Name, label. No, we just have name. Alright, so let's try joining them on name then. So let's go back into this. Joins and relates, join attributes from a table. So the field that this join will be based on, so name, the table that joined to this layer. So based on what it says in the field name, we're going to add in data from the spreadsheet revenue, and then we're going to join it based on what field from that one. So also name. So the name field in this and the name field in that should be the same, so that you can match them on and basically staple them together. And so the first thing to do is we want to click on Validate Join, and that's going to tell us whether this works or not. Okay, so let's hit yes here. Let's create an index so that this will do better. All right, so it says 131 out of 134 records match by joining name. Matching records may not appear in table due to validation errors. All right, so let's hit OK. We're not going to get 100% match here because they're not 100% the same. So now click on municipality, go to open attribute table. Let's make this bigger here. Whoop. Okay, so Marshall Township joined with, and now this is the second file that we added in starting here. Marshall Township, tax, real estate, income tax, etc. If we go all the way down to the bottom, so we see there are a couple that didn't join up. So which ones are those? We got, what was that, Trafford Borough and Castle Shannon Borough, I think. Oh, one more. We got McDonald and Castle Shannon. And what else? And this one right here. Which is Mount Lebanon, really? Well, I don't know why those didn't join up exactly, but there don't seem to be any extra ones from here. So 131, 134. So let's go back and see revenue. How many rows are there in here? 128. How did we get 131 to join up then? We should have 128 joining up. That's interesting. Let's sort by object ID here. 128. Did it repeat some numbers? Oh, there we go. O'Hara Township is repeated multiple times. Huh. Well, that's just bizarre. I don't know why that happened. And I don't see anything else that's repeated. Let's go back into here. O'Hara Township is only on there once. And, well, that's interesting. It might have been in the municipal multiple times. Okay, so looking at all these four different O'Hara Township, one thing that we can look at is if we go down to all the O'Hara Township ones, and we select all these, so we can see that in a number of ways they're the same. If we look at, the tax and stuff like that, they're the same. If we look at the shape area, shape length, they're all different here. So the demographics are the same. It's one demographic area, but when it's being drawn, square miles are different, acres different. It's being drawn as different areas. So if we close out here, we can see where the zoom is right here. So if we zoom in on this area, we can see, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 different areas that are all O'Hara share a township that are all highlighted. So let's go ahead and leave that as is. Go back to full extent, unselect everything. So we have our 131 rows of revenue data. Let's make sure now. Well, let's see what we're supposed to be doing based on the checklist. Actually, should maybe be our next step. Okay, based on the checklist, we need two maps. One is real estate taxes as percentage of total taxes. One is income taxes as percentage of total taxes. We need two legends that are both quantiles with five categories. We need the quantities displayed as percents. We have two legends twice. We need a title, and we need the municipalities labeled. So we can do it with this one. Okay, we need two maps. Let's go back to this view first of all before we confuse ourselves. Now, if you remember, we need to create a second data frame in order to copy this onto a second map. Before we do that, though, let's go ahead and let's change this so that we can. We want to make it. We want to look at the real estate taxes. Okay, so how are we going to get to symbology? What do you remember? Okay, if you said double click on municipality right here, go into properties, then you're right. Congratulations. Or you're also right if you said right click and click on properties right here. Then we go to the symbology tab, and we want to do quantities, graduated colors. So field, it says we want real estate tax, which is real, so real. Now, the tricky thing here, the new thing that we have going on, is that we don't just want the real estate tax. Why not? Well, if we do real estate tax, this is now the total taxes for each area, which means that here's Pittsburgh right in the middle of Allegheny County. That has the highest real estate taxes because it has the most people and paid the most taxes total. Well, that's not really very interesting information. All that's telling us is how many people live in a place. We want to know the percentage of taxes that were paid as real estate taxes. So let's go into this again. And the way that we're going to do this is normalization right here. So think of this as numerator and denominator. And it's real estate taxes divided by, what's the variable we want here? We want tax is the total taxes. Again, I don't know why tax is total taxes and not total, but that's just the way it is. Okay, so now we got real estate divided by tax. And we want to have 5 quantiles, I believe, right? Is that what the assignment says? Quantiles with 5 categories. So let's go to quantile, 5 categories. Hit OK. Actually, so we want percent right here. So if we hit percent, this now changes to a percent, 54%, 78%, etc. Hit OK, except that on here it's not looking like it's percent. So what we want to do is we want to change this to percent. So all we have to do here is right click on any of these things and go to format label. Oh wait, sorry. Wait, hold on. Yeah, format label, so I was right. And now you can see we can change this, so we can do a percentage. Now, does the number already represent a percentage, or does the number represent a fraction? So these are actually fractions. 0.11 is not a percentage. Percentage would be if this said 11, would be 11%. So we're going to go to number represents a fraction, click on numeric options, and let's take this down to 2 decimal points. How about? Hit OK, and there we go. There's the percentage. Hit OK, and you can adjust the colors. You don't have to have it be blue. The other thing we want to do is label municipalities. So how do we turn the labels on? Okay, there are 2 ways to do it again. This fast way is to right click on label features, and boom, there are the labels. The slower way is to go into here and go into labels. And now if you have really dark colors like I have here, then when you turn the labels on, this also, you'll have to go in here if you want a different label here, but name automatically gets selected. And you can go in here and you could turn your halos on so that you can see it. Halo, let's go down to 1. Fill color, let's go with more of a light gray. Okay. Okay, so that's a lot of municipalities here. And then what we want to do is we can copy and paste this data frame. So we can make, let's also make sure, before we do that, let's drag rivers to the top. Let's make sure we can see the rivers. And let's go ahead and make this, how about lake color makes sense. Outline color, yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we can kind of see where the rivers are. The assignment asks about the municipalities that are closer to the river versus farther from the river. Okay, so now we want to copy the data frame. We want to put these same things into a new data frame. There are multiple ways to do this. The way I'm going to do it today is I'm going to go to Insert Data Frame. And now I can just take this, and when we drag it down into the new data frame, it copies it down there. So all you have to do is select and then drag it. And now we have 2 identical data frames. Now, I'm not going to go through the next couple steps with you. All you have to do is the exact same thing that we did with municipality up here, where we did real estate over tax, except for this one, instead of real, you're going to do income tax over tax. Make it 5 quantiles, make it show in percentage, in percents. Okay? So I'm going to give you a minute to go do that on your own, and then I'll join you in part 3 of tutorial 4-1. Okay? See you then.